Hi everybody, thanks for checking in with me today. This is my second video on how you make the flowers that are on this card. The first one I did on the roses. This video is just going to be for these simple blossoms right here, that they're much easier than the roses. In fact, some of you might be insulted by the fact that I think you need to see a video on it because it is so easy. If you've done any kind of ribbon roses before, you'll have no problem with these, and you've probably already done them before. So anyway, I just thought I would show you, for those of you who don't have any experience making any kind of ribbon roses or flowers, hopefully this video will be helpful for you. I'm using the vintage seam binding that I've used here on my card. It's really popular lately. It's just a real delicate thin ribbon, but it makes some really pretty little blossoms. So anyway, to get us started, you're only going to use, I'm thinking about 5 inches of this, but I'm not going to cut anything off until we're done because I don't want to waste a smidgen of this ribbon. I'm going to tuck under just maybe about 1/4 of an inch so that when I'm done and I gather this up and swirl it around, this edge that's tucked under is going to be on the top of my flower to hide what I cut off underneath. So I've got some dark thread here that I would not normally use, but I'm hoping maybe you'll be able to see the stitches. I'm just going to do just a real simple, just a straight stitch, what you would do if you needed to gather or baste something. And the stitches are only going to be probably about 1/8 of an inch apart here, and so it's just a over under kind of thing. This part is a little tedious, but really it's basically all there is to the flower. So if you don't mind doing this for, I don't know, a minute or two, you will be on your way to having one of these pretty little flowers made. I just kind of keep pulling it back, and then every so often, just to see how much I've done and how much I might still have to go, I'll straighten it out like this. And I do still need to do probably a couple more inches. So I will just keep on stitching. I don't know how well this is showing. And you can tell too, I'm not being real careful. Some of my stitches are smaller, some are larger, but it just doesn't make a bit of difference once you gather the whole thing up. I am working over, as close to the edge of the ribbon as I can. And I think we will check again and see how far we've gone. That just might do it. I'm going to put in 3 more stitches and call it quits. 1, 2, 3. And I just think that will be enough. So, as you see, when I pull this thread, it's just going to start curling that right up. And you want to pull it really good and tight. The edge that you tucked under, you want to let that come around on the top. And then once you kind of have it in place there, go ahead and make sure that you've got it completely pulled, completely tight. I'm going to try to hold it on this side so you can see there. Now, if you gathered more than what I gathered, your flower would just circle on around, and you would have a few little layers of petals instead of just, and you can see where this one has kind of started to do that, and that's fine. It just depends on the look that you want. If you want a fuller flower, you could gather more, but if you want to save your ribbon like I do, then this would be plenty. So what I would do now, oops, some of those came out. I'm going to pull that tight again one more time. And hold on to it. I'm going to go ahead and snip off this extra ribbon so that I can stitch through the back now to catch these and keep them all in place. I'll just turn it over, and it's so, the ribbon is so loose it lets that thread come out. If you let go, it'll start to come loose there. Anyway, I'm just going to go through just this center part a few times, kind of from a few different angles to, oops, didn't really want to do that, although it's probably not going to hurt anything. I just want to make sure that I catch these little gathers from different angles and try to keep the shape of the flower the way it's supposed to be. And then I'm going to go one more and put a little knot in it. So I think that should be plenty. Pull that real tight. Turn it over. And there we have that. Now, normally you would not have that lovely black thread showing in the middle. I've got one more to snip off there. Normally, too, if I have a longer tail, I will pull that down through the center so that that's hanging out the bottom edge instead of the top edge. And there's a few little threads hanging off there that I'm going to snip off. But anyway, that is pretty much it. I'm going to grab a little pearl here. And that is going to go right on top of those ugly threads so nobody will see them, and it's ready to go. So these are super, super simple. Here's some other ones. You know, there's just, I put them just kind of like a little bouquet in my card, but there's so many different things you could do. I had thought about, when I was done with my card, I'd thought about putting one down here by this bow, but I just thought with the other flowers that was way too much. But there's lots of pretty little things you could do with these, and they're so simple to make. So I hope that gives you a good idea of how they're done. Super easy. And if you do have any questions or any comments, I'd love for you to visit my blog. Excuse me, it's at jerryspaperwishes.blogspot.com. I'm not real sure how well that's going to show up on the video, but Jerry is G-E-R-I, jerryspaperwishes.blogspot.com. And I would love for you to stop by and comment. Take a look at my cards. If you have any questions, I would be glad to try to get back with you on it. So, hope this has made it as clear as mud for you. I do have one other video that's real similar on the roses, and you could search for vintage seam binding rose tutorial to find that one. So I hope to hear from you out there. Thanks.
Okay.